Okay, so back to its 2021 Specialist Exam 2 to the multiple choice. Here we are to question 5. So question 5, graph of the circle given by the magnitude of z minus 2 minus root 3i equals 1 is shown. For points on this circle, the maximum value of the magnitude of just z. All right, so what we've got here is we've got a circle. Center of our circle is at 2 and root 3. And our radius, of course, is 1. All right, so the maximum value of z is what we're after. Now, here's our origin. Our maximum value of z would be when it's furthest away from the origin. Now, from our center out to there, we know that that length there is 1 because our radius is 1. So the maximum distance from our origin would be this much there to the center plus our radius, which is 1. Now this distance to our center then, that length there we would do with Pythagoras because that's 2 and that's root 3. So that length in here would be the square root of 2 squared plus root 3 squared. All right, which is the square root of 4 plus 3, which is the square root of 7. So our distance all the way out to there is root 7 plus 1. And so root 7 plus 1 is alternative D. All right, so there we go. All right, 6. Question 6, another complex number question. If z is an element of C, so it's a complex number, and it's not equal to 0, z squared is an element of R. So z squared is a real number. All right, so when we square it, we get a real number. So let's, here we're going to, because we've got to square it, I'm going to use de Moivre's theorem, if that's how you pronounce it. So using polar form, n theta. Yep, not just n theta, just theta. I've got ahead of myself there. Cis theta, not n theta. I've got ahead of myself. De Moivre's theta says that z to the n, in this case z to the squared, would be r squared cis 2 theta. All right, now when we expand that, that would then tell us that z squared would be r squared cos 2 theta plus r squared sine 2 theta I. Now, getting back to what I said here, that z squared is a real number. So if z squared is a real number, it does not have a imaginary component. So my imaginary component here has got to equal 0. Now we're told that z's not equal to 0, so that r can't be equal to 0. So what that means is that sine 2 theta has got to equal 0. So 2 theta, when is sine 0, so back to our unit circle, so when's sine 0, and it's little arg, so we can go both ways as far as we like. So it's at 0, sine is this way, so sine is 0 there and there. So it's at 0, plus or minus pi, plus or minus 2 pi, etc. So that means that theta is 0 plus or minus pi on 2 plus or minus pi plus or minus 3 pi on 2 and so on. So we're looking for the value where we can get there. So k is an element of z. So it's k pi on 2. So it's looking straight away that we're can get 0, pi on 2, pi, etc. straight away from that one. Because if k is 0, you get 0. If k is 1, you get pi on 2, and so on. All right, so there's that. All right, next question. So we have some parametric equations. Relation is defined parametrically by those. For x and y in terms of t, the parameter. A, we've got 2 points, A and B, and they're on the graph, the shortest distance along the graph, the shortest distance along the graph, shortest distance along the graph. All right, so we're talking about arc length. And on your formula sheet, there is a formula for arc length, which involves the derivatives of these things. All right, it's on the last page, page 4, bottom of the calculus thing. So what do we need to know? We need to know a few things, because we need to know what t is, and we need to know what the derivatives are. All right, for that particular integral. So let's have a look. There's a fair bit of work here. So when x is 6, all right, which then is 5 cos 2t plus 1. All right, so rearranging, 5 is 5 cos 2t. 1 is cos 2t. All right, so 2t is 0. And so we can say t is 0. When x, so that's for point A. For point B, when x is 1, 5 cos 2t plus 1. 0 is 5 cos 2t. So cos 2t equals 0. So that occurs when 2t would be pi on 2. So t pi on 4. And so they're now going to be our limits on our integral. All right, we need to know what x dash t is. All right, so x dash t, 2 comes out, changes to sign, negative. So negative 10 sine 2t, negative 10 sine 2t, and the 1, of course, goes to 0. Y dashed, all right, the 2 comes out, times 10 goes to cos 2t. And so now we're looking at our arc length, our integral. Whoops, it's not, that's an L. All right, so the integral, so looking on there, it's t1 to t2, so that's 0 to pi on 4. Square root of what? X dashed of t squared. So that's minus 10 sine 2t squared plus y dashed of t squared. So that's 10 cos 2t squared, and then outside is dt, and I can't fit my dt in. dt. All right. For this, you would get your calculator out.